Hey guys, it's Vicki, and I am back with What's for Dinner. Tonight, I am going to be making a creamy Swedish meatball bake. So I'll tell you what you need, and everything, of course, will be down in the description from ingredients to how to make this. If you're new to our channel, welcome. We appreciate you coming by. First thing you're going to need is a pound of ground beef, 1 pound of pork, some panko breadcrumbs, which this is the end of my can. You're going to need a couple eggs, butter. You're going to need some allspice and also some nutmeg. It's going to go into the meatballs, salt and pepper, and some egg noodles, which I bought these, and about a half a cup of Swiss cheese. A half a cup of Swiss cheese to put on the top. The recipe actually called for a cheese I can't pronounce. That seems to be a growing trend in my videos. Gruyere cheese, Gruyere or something like that. But you can substitute that with Swiss. So I've been told. That's what you're going to need for the meatballs. And then you're going to make the sauce for the Swedish meatball part. So you'll need butter, flour, some beef broth, some heavy cream, and some salt. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make just our meatballs. My husband's not home yet, so I'm going to prep my meatballs ahead of time and just put them in the refrigerator. Remember, if the green light goes off, somebody needs to tell me so that I get a different microphone. So I have the value pack from Walmart. So we will just use a bit of this. It said that this makes 4 servings. It didn't say how big the serving size was, though, so I'm not entirely sure. No surprise here, do not have a kitchen scale. Otherwise, I'd probably have weighed the beef out. I'm just eyeballing it. And then I have some Smithfield ground pork. All right, you might be wondering, but I can't work with long sleeves, especially if I have to mix the meat up. Now, you can play doctor in the house and get yourself some gloves if you need to mix up your meat, but I'm just going to use my hands, combine it up, and then I'm going to add in the panko, the eggs, the butter, nutmeg, allspice, and salt and pepper. But I'm going to combine that up a little bit. Mixture, we're going to add a half a cup of breadcrumbs, panko, which I know this is a half a cup. We're going to add 2 eggs. Should they be beaten? No idea. I shall beat them up with my hands. 2 tablespoons of melted butter. Now we're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, which for this recipe, normally I just kind of eyeball it. But for this recipe, since these seasonings or spices can be a little strong, I'm actually using a measuring spoon. So that was the nutmeg, allspice, so that smells so good. We're going to do a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. Whoa. Hope nobody saw that. That was a lot more salt than I probably wanted to put in there. Will not bother my husband at all, but all right, and we're going to combine this. Make sure you get all those seasonings as evenly distributed in the meat as you can, but that looks pretty good. And then we're just going to roll them into meatballs. Again, 4 servings. How big should these meatballs be? No idea. I'm just going with like the palm of my hand. And if that seems wrong as we go through it, I guess, I can start over. But, kind of like meatball in an Italian restaurant. Also, while you are browning your meatballs, you could be boiling your egg noodles. I hope you all are having a wonderful day or evening, wherever you're watching from. If you're new, I'm Vicki, and I'm half of this channel. The other half is Lori, and we both live in Colorado. So I don't know where all of you watch from. I got 23 meatballs out of the 2 pounds of meat. So that's probably where you're going to be sitting, 23, 24 meatballs. We are back, and I'm going to go ahead and heat up some olive oil. I'm also heating up the water to go ahead and boil. I did about 2 cups, which is a little over, but we'll see. They're just noodles, so. If there ever was a utensil not to use with your Teflon, it's these ginormous like outdoor grill tongs. Pro tip. Also forgot to mention, it says to bake it at 375 for like 20 minutes. Does it sound like I'm guessing? I'm guessing. Hold on. I don't know. I didn't write that part of the recipe down. I'll double check, but I think it's 20 minutes. And I look at it this way. If there's too many meatballs, I could do something else with them too. They smell amazing. You hear all that banging on that metal? Look, I grew up drinking out of a water hose and putting things in my mouth that I probably shouldn't have. I'm sure the little bit of Teflon's not going to kill me. Now, if you notice, my pot back here is really full. If you have a wooden spoon and you put it over your boiling water, it will not overflow. But take that with a grain of salt. Don't come suing me because you overboiled your pot of water and spilled it down your leg. I mean, you still got to watch it. And then we're going to make, like we did the other night, a roux or a roe, I guess, which would be butter, flour, beef broth, I think a little salt. It's going to be the creamy base to the Swedish meatballs. Wow, no knives and no garlic in this recipe. Sort of a sad day in the Vicki kitchen. Once you do get them browned on all sides, you can transfer them to a plate with a paper towel on it. Again, remember, these are going to cook 20 minutes. I think it's 20 in the oven. So what's not done on the inside will finish baking in the oven. This was lean beef, maybe 7%, but you're getting a lot of the fat out of that pork, which is going to make them taste the world better. So you're going to take the noodles off the heat and drain and rinse. Rinse and drain. These are finishing up. I'm going to go ahead and start making the roux. We're going to melt 6 tablespoons of butter. And now we're going to add 4 tablespoons of flour. And we're going to combine that and cook that for a couple minutes. 3 cups of beef broth. Using heavy whipping cream. And a little bit of salt. I don't know if we need it after all the salt I put in the meatballs. All right, those guys are done. We're going to heat this up and get it thick. Now the meatballs are done, and I want to use the same pan to combine the meatballs and the roux, but I don't want all that grease, so I'm just using a paper towel. I'm kind of stirring that to heating it up to get it a little thicker. And then I'm going to put this sauce, roux or roe, over the meatballs and cook it for about 3 minutes. And then I'm going to dump it into the casserole dish. All right, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to put that over the meatballs. Whoa! Explosion. And we're going to let this cook. I have it medium low. I'm going to let this cook for about 3 minutes, 3-4 minutes. Then into the casserole dish with the noodles and into the oven. If you've made it this far, I thank you very much. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And we do appreciate you, myself and Lori, very much. Smells good. And we are back, I think. Meatballs and sauce are in the casserole dish. Mixed in the noodles, topped it with some Swiss cheese, and now a little parsley. And into the oven, 20 minutes, check it. And I will see you guys for dinner when it's time to eat. Thank you for watching so far. There we go. It is a Swedish meatball bake. All right, we are hot out of the oven. It is bubbling hot and cheesy, and it smells amazing. And I will see you on the next What's for Dinner.